Okay, I'm a tiny bit fed up with that point of view mount that I made, so I'm resorting to a new camera angle to see. Because for whatever reason, I'll put it up, I'll orient the thing the right way so you're actually seeing what I'm seeing, and then I put it up there and it goes 90 degrees on me, which is annoying. So here's a sort of a sidebar. I'd made a post that I'd sewn the seam on the left side of the outer apron, but I was dissatisfied with its effect because the black thread that I've been using throughout, I could see it as neatly as I could do. I could still see it against the gray. So I cut off a little swatch from my roll here, and the top roll, and I'm going to take it to my thread supplier tomorrow after I get off the day job and see if I can find something that's a good match. So just for concurrent activity, I'm going to get to work on the dress shoulder plate that the customer also wants. Now, if you go through my playlist, you'll see I've done some videos on the history and the construction of the dress shoulder plate, how you could say it kind of mimics or perpetuates the effect of the old belted plate, but historically they were held with a cloth belt around the waist, which added rather more material at the waist. So I came up with a different method, and you'll be seeing it later here, but if you're impatient, you can go to those videos and take a look for yourself. So what I'm doing, let's get the kilt out of the way, is I have my leftover cloth that I'd ordered for the purpose, and you remember back in the first video there was a flaw that they were kind enough, there it is, yarn to point out where the flaw was. So we're utilizing the cloth, draping the cloth, so that won't be in the finished garment. So the first step is to do the top pleated portion that will be hanging from the top of the kilt. So I'm just going to play around with this. I'm going to do this a couple of ways, because you remember how we pleated the stripe, or sorry, pleated laid out the pleats so that the pleats are centered on the division between gray and black. So I think that's a logical place to start. If I was pleating the kilt to the red stripe, I would utilize the red stripe, feature the red stripe in the layout. But let's start with this, and you can see, and I'm just playing around here. There's no set method. I'm just playing with the cloth to see what strikes my eye. So I'm just laying this out. Oh, one other thing. This is the single width cloth with the lovely quilting selvage. So I've laid the cloth out so that as it drapes down the back, it's going to be, in fact, let's check. If it's hanging down the back, it'll be high left, low right. Yeah. So hanging down the back, high, because that's towards the ground. This is going to be where the top of the kilt is. High left, low right. So good. I've oriented it correctly. Okay, yeah, no, now if this wasn't this beautiful cloth, if this had a tuck selvage, or if I'd ripped this down from a double wide piece of cloth and there was a raw edge there, yeah, I would tease it out. I would tease out a fringe of about, oh, I don't know, an inch or so. But this quilting selvage is rare enough. I mean, who besides Dowd Leaf even makes it, that I'm incorporating the quilting selvage into the finished plate. The far end will be fringed, but the main body of the plate, let's keep that quilting selvage because it's such a desirable feature. pull this over. Now let's bring the gray to just the edge of the black there. And again, I'm just doing this sort of cheap and cheerful, not cheap and cheerful, but quick and cheerful by eye, just as a sort of a discovery process. And I'm not flaring, I'm not tapering these pleats. I'm doing them pretty much parallel. Okay. All right, okay. Maybe I'll just do that. That kind of works. Now this is going to be hidden under the tail of the owner's coat. You don't, the dress plate is so very, very dressy. You don't wear it with a poet shirt, you know, the so-called kilt shirt, which makes my teeth curl to think about. It's strictly a very formal item. You wear it with black tie or white tie. You wear it with a plaid brooch. This is very much high fashion, and high formal evening wear. So you're not going to be wearing it in shirt sleeves. And to that end, I want to make this wider rather than narrow, because it's the same amount of cloth. But if I make it narrow, it's going to be thicker, because we're not cutting out the back or anything like that. We're just sewing it. And if it's too narrow, it's too thick. It's actually going to affect how the jacket would have to be tailored, because I can imagine if you tailored a jacket, which you're almost certainly going to do, tailor the jacket so that it lays flat across the back and it fits when you're not wearing this thing. When you are wearing this thing, it's going to be slightly tight at that point, and it's going to change the appearance of the jacket. Because of course you wear a jacket done up when you're standing. Single-breasted jacket, you wear it done up when you're standing and walking around. You want to do it when you sit down, but standing up with this extra volume under one side, it would, if it was very compact, it would change the fit of the jacket. But if we spread it out, I think that's less likely to be an issue. Okay. Well, that way it worked, and that's pleated in the reverse of what the kilt is pleated. But let's do it a different way and see what we get. Now I have to admit that alone of all of my videos, I think this is the first time that I actually rehearsed, if you will, before I started the camera rolling, and that I played with this for a while. Played, get it? There was a pun. I played with it for a while before I decided that I was going to make a video of this. Okay, well, let's do it with the pleats reversed, facing the other way, in which case and again, you know, there's no one correct way to arrange these. It's entirely a matter of taste. Yeah, you know, we could do it like that. And in some cases, I would take pictures of each of these ways and then go back and just flip back and forth amongst the pictures to see which one I and the client like best. But I think in this case, I'm just gonna go with my hunch here. Okay, so there's the second way. I like that because it's symmetrical. We have the red line on either side. Oh, how else could I do this? I have to admit, this is not an incredibly productive day because we had our big turkey feast yesterday, Canadian Thanksgiving. So consequently, even though it's a day later, it's nearly 24 hours after that dinner, I'm still sort of feeling a bit of a turkey paralysis thing here. What else could I do? I could do alternate. Broad and narrow. Where did I go? Did I go to there? Yeah. Yes, I don't know. Like that, right? Maybe. I kind of like the middle one best. Let's go back to how I did that. Where was I? How did I do that? Yeah, I think I like this one the best because it's simple. And because the pleats are uniform in depth, they lay together. The other one you saw, the previous one I did was quite jumbled. It would require pressing to make it behave. Like that. I have to go back and watch the video I just shot to see exactly how I had done it the previous time. that's kind of it, isn't it? I'm going to stop the video now because I'm just going to sort of ponder on this for a bit before I proceed, because again, I'm having a bit of a lazy day. The next stage here will be, I'll do sort of a steek at the bottom here, because I think this is how, what's that, about 8 inches. It's about the same depth as the fell seam, and it doesn't have to be, but I think I'll steek here and at the top and maybe in the middle as well, and then put a top band on it, and then it'll be essentially ready for a trial fitting with the client, also with the kilt, because I don't think enough attention is paid into the fitting of these things. If they're too short or too long, they look ghastly. So let's do it right. We'll call the fellow in for a fitting. But right now, I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to play with this a bit more, and I'll turn it back on when I've decided to do the next thing. Here we go.